Hi, guys. I'm Dr. Jenny White, a dentist in Sarasota, Florida, and her fearless patient, Susan, with our new and exciting podcast, Open Wide, Be Careful What You Tell Your Dentist. Over the past 25 or so years, I've been sitting in a little room talking to myself all day, and I've gained a lot of wisdom through that process, which I want to share with you. We are two women in our mid-whatevers who want to have fun and talk about our daily lives in a Seinfeld kind of way, although we admit we are far from Jerry Seinfeld in the humor department. We hope our podcast casts optimism and fearlessness to you so you can remember that you can rise to the top, stay at the top, and dream bigger than you've ever imagined. So on today's show, the soup du jour is kindness. I love this topic. I love this word. And Susan, my brain immediately went to, why is there a granola bar called a kind bar? Like, who calls food kind? So, of course, I went to handy dandy Google, and the Google search told me that the founder of Kind Bar, his father was a Holocaust survivor. He was in the Dachau prison camp for almost 6 to 7 years. And when he was liberated by the Americans, he told his son not of all of the horrors that went on all the time daily, but he talked about this one German soldier that threw a potato at his feet when the other soldiers weren't looking. It was a moment of survival and kindness. And for someone who had spent 6 to 7 years in a prison camp to come out focusing on the one glimmer of hope that existed, I thought, wow. And so the son turned that into $1 billion business. So what I say is, let's dive into kindness in 1 billion different ways. Maybe not 1 billion, but let's do our best here.
You know, I love that story. I always thought the Kind Bar was named after being kind to the earth or being kind to yourself by eating good foods and so forth. Had no idea of the backstory with that. So thanks for sharing it. And, you know, I guess in a way I'm not surprised about the survivor of that guy's dad because hope is everything in life. And focusing on the good in life is going to keep you alive, I think, in a lot of cases. And so that seems to be what happened here. That's a lovely story.
Yeah, it took my breath away when I read it. It really did. So I was thinking about how to be kind towards someone. And what came to mind for me was, and I'm not talking about leaving a tip for a waiter or giving a little extra something to someone. I'm talking about feeling it in your soul, kindness, being that kind towards another person. And I was thinking, for me, I have to get vulnerable with that person. So vulnerability is something that I'm not good at. I was raised to be a perfectionist. So in my mind, if you're a perfectionist, you're not vulnerable because you're a perfectionist. And I've learned that that's so unattainable and ridiculous. So I feel like being vulnerable, whether it's in your personal relationships or with your coworkers or someone that you just really care about or your friends, being vulnerable in a way that's kind, that's nice, it's not mean, it's not harsh, it's not cutting. You're just openly communicating to these people how you feel in an honest way. That is going to lead me, to being able to be kind towards those people. What do you think?
Well, a question for you. Was there a seminal moment for you when you realized I don't need to be this perfectionist and I can open up my vulnerabilities and I get so much more back when I do that? What was the moment for you when you realized that?
So my entire life has been a life based on growing. I am a person that will read the self-help books. I'll read books on Warren Buffett. I'll read biographies. I am an avid wanting to collect knowledge type of person to make myself better. And I think it's just a gradual process. Probably in my mid-30s, I thought, God, this is exhausting, trying to be perfect.
Yeah.
And so I switched it up, and then I started reading on perfectionism, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But in order for me to be vulnerable, I can't be perfect. And again, kindness comes from taking the focus off of myself.
Mm-hmm.
It's about the other person.
Mm.
So when you're vulnerable, you're in essence laying yourself down and saying, this is me. These are my imperfections or whatever. And here I am. And it just takes a weight off of me to allow me to be kind towards whomever's in front of me.
Mm. Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The other thing too is I think honesty is a big deal when you're talking about kindness, because you can be fake kind. I think, but let me speak for myself.
What's an example of that? Like what would, how?
Um, when you encounter someone that's having a bad day and you say, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry you're having a bad day. Okay, bye.
Mm.
You're really not sorry that they're having a bad day, but you're kind of faking it. So I think honesty and vulnerability, if you can get those two things going, then your kindness can be genuine towards another person. Just a
Okay.
thought.
Yeah, I think you might be right, actually.
Just a thought.
Yeah. So I have an obtuse example about kindness. So there is a city that happens once a year in the Nevada desert, 7 miles into the Nevada desert. A city is actually built, and it's actually a festival, and the festival is called Burning Man. So have you been?
I haven't been, but I've heard about it.
Oh my God! So I have been, and it was a profound experience. Like one of my life's most profound experiences in a very, very good way. But the point I'm trying to make in this conversation is you have to bring everything in yourself, right? Because you cannot buy anything at Burning Man. I think
Right.
you can maybe buy water and that's it. But other than that, you cannot buy anything. And so it's a gifting society. So if you want something, then you gift somebody something or they gift something back to you. And the gift could be kindness, an act of kindness. So let's say your bicycle tire is flat and I've got a pump, and that's my act of kindness to you to pump up your bicycle tire. Or you have, a towel that I want and I give you a granola bar, and that's, a kind exchange. And so for a whole week, people live like that. And it's a really beautiful experience around a genuine kindness, because you kind of have to be kind to each other, because otherwise you don't survive in the Nevada desert for 7 days. By the way, the whole city burns down at the end of 7 days. It literally lasts 7 days. That's it.
Wow.
Yeah. So that was my experience with a gifting society, and a experience with, kindness and doing kind things for people as a way of helping people through whatever sandstorm or whatever issue they were facing that day. Now, let me just be really clear. I mean, everybody was really happy at Burning Man, but it wasn't just because they were being kind to each other. I just want to be really clear, okay? Like, kindness was up there, but there were several other things that were ahead that made people happy. I'm just being really clear.
Right.
But for me, it was, oh my God, like I've never been 7 days without having to pull my wallet out or pay for something, and this is a way to like give back to general society, and I thought that was a great experiment for me personally. And yeah.
And looping back to the Kind Bar, the founder of the Kind Bar gives away a Kind Bar. Like if you do a kind act, then you get a Kind Bar. He's got this little rhythm going with his company that circulates around. And I think I would love living in a society for a while, at least, to experience the barter system.
Yeah.
But again, how much of it is true kindness? How much of it is fake kindness? How much of it is they have sand in their teeth and they really need your toothbrush and toothpaste?
Yeah, and that could be. And by the way, we're not bartering for like lawnmowers or rides to the airport or anything like that. It's simple little things. But it was a wonderful experience for me personally to see how that could work.
Yeah.
And it's only 7 days, because after 7 days, I'm sure everybody gets grouchy with each other and or whatever, but it was a perfect 7 days when I was there.
And being in that environment for 7 days, you're going to be raw, you're going to be vulnerable, you're going to be honest. It's going to get real.
Yeah.
And I think the kindness would just set fire. It would be a blaze.
Yeah, and
in
that's
an environment
so true.
like that.
Yeah, and that's very, very true.
I'm a big lover of hiking. We go to Colorado a couple times a year. And when you're on an extended hike and you're out of something and you encounter other
Yeah,
hikers,
same thing.
that kindness, that level of
Yeah.
kindness is just so appreciated. And then when you get back down to planet Earth, aka your car at the trailhead, you really appreciate that person. And it kind of resonates in your head for a day or two. Like,
Yeah.
wow, they were so nice. They gave me water or
Right.
they whatever. So it's almost as if life kind of slaps us around and throws us around and tosses us around. And then we encounter a person out of the blue that does something that's really kind. And it kind of shocks our system. Whoa. Wow.
Yeah, because I think that we're living in a very upsetting world right now, and and there's a lot of unkindness that's going around, and so I just really feel like we need to double our efforts in kindness because everybody is suffering, whether they're showing it or not, on one form or another. It's just a topsy turvy, sort of uneven, unpredictable world that we're in right now with world powers at each other's throats, and that just feels unsettling. And so the kinder we can be to people these days, the better everybody will be.
So I think I've mentioned in prior podcasts that I am a child of the 80s, and it brings me to my Michael Jackson Man in the Mirror moment. That song reminds me that I do need to be kind. I need to double up on the kindness look at myself. What am I putting out there?
Mm.
What am I giving to other people? What am I radiating? What's
Mm.
my vibe? And I think if a large portion of us did that, it might help change the current vibe that's going on. I mean, we're not in control of a lot of
Oh,
what's
I
going
think there's a
on,
lot to be said about that. You're
but
right.
radiating that positive, kind energy can't do anything but help.
Yeah, I think you're right. I don't know how that gets started or what the grassroots effort is to make that a more widespread theme right now for all of us, but it would be great to see that take root for sure.
It could start with yoga classes. Everyone a lot of people go to yoga classes or Pilates classes, things like that. I mean, just as simple, the instructor saying, let's inhale, let's exhale, let's think about the positive.
Yeah, I'm
What
thinking
can
more
you
of a
do?
widespread effort. But individual for sure. Everybody's got to do something individually. But I wonder what the widespread effort, like, remember that "We Are the World" or "We Are the People" and that whole musical effort to help.
Oh, Bob
What-
Geldof.
Yeah, Bill. Was it the what? Not wildfires. Africa, the African famine. I think it was. Yeah.
Right.
Um, and look at all the good that did. And so some sort of a coordinated effort for all of us to get behind to just be kinder to each other right now because it's kind of crazy out there.
I think that would be, I'm so on board with that. And I would be jumping on that train if it stopped by. But I don't want to get sad about thinking, gosh, if that train doesn't hop into Sarasota, Florida, and I don't get on it, I can't do anything. And so for me, I try to just do the best that I can
Well, of
and
course.
affect other people.
Yeah.
But I would be on that train
Yeah.
if the minute it stopped in, because I'm a big believer in the power of a large movement.
Mm,
That'd be wonderful.
yeah, it would be wonderful. Really great. Yeah. But back to the central point, which is that, you know, kindness may be harder to find these days just because of the pressures everybody's under. And if we make our own individual effort to try and make somebody's life easier or better that day by doing whatever,
Mhm.
that helps.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. I also think, I think in today's world, people are afraid of being honest. People are afraid to show kindness towards a lot of things
Okay.
for a myriad of different reasons.
Mm.
And is there a way to navigate around that? You might not want to express how you feel or be kind towards a religion or a political group, or, I don't know. I just want to be kind towards everyone as best I can. I'm not perfect. I'm not saying I love everyone, but if we're going to make a change, then don't you think we need to be kind? Or
Yeah.
or is it possible?
I actually saw this, what you're referring to, I think, in action the other day at a dinner party. And so everybody there was from different sort of political sides, and everybody was dug into their political side. And they didn't seem to make a big effort to say, I want to learn more about why do you feel that way? Like, why are you coming from that point of view, Jenny? I want to know more. There wasn't a lot of that. I think if everybody took time to say, I want to know more about what you're thinking. I mean, you're
Dialogue it.
You dialogue it. Yeah, let's communicate. You're a friend of mine, and and a sharp cookie at that. So why I want to know more? Like, why do you think like that? And maybe I should be thinking more along those lines,
or having compassion for,
or at least having compassion. Yeah,
having compassion and empathy for what was said by your friend.
Right, but to shut it down stops any effort to try to build bridges.
So exactly. And so being honest, as I mentioned in the intro, we have to be honest with each other. And how do you be honest? You have to communicate. And how do you communicate? You have to listen.
Right.
And then how do you listen? You have to have empathy.
Yeah.
And so we have to be able to communicate with one another, have some empathy, even if it's a small flippin' thread.
Yeah.
So that we can be honest, so that we can be kind towards the person. I'm not saying drop all of your beliefs or drop anybody's beliefs about anything and change the way you are.
Yeah.
I'm just saying I want to be more kind.
Yeah.
And you have to be honest to be kind. And to be honest, to circle it back around again to the intro, you got to be vulnerable. So you've got to be able to say, no, Sally, I really feel this, but I'm listening to what you're saying. I'm doing my best. And I'm giving this a go over here, so grant me a little grace, but you're just trying to be kind. You're trying to have a conversation and be kind. I think it's super important in our world today.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I totally agree.
And again, we are in control of this. We are in control of how we want to act, how we want to think, how we want to be towards other people. And so it's a little bit empowering thinking that we have the control to do that.
Yep, I agree.
So to kind of wrap up our philosophical discussion on kindness, I find great happiness that we are in control of this. It all boils down to communication, being vulnerable, having empathy, a lot of wonderful qualities of, again, which we are in control of. I think if we're kind to our minds and we're kind to our bodies, we're going to be kind to the world. And we also need to eat more kind bars.
Yes, particularly given the story. And he must give back to, do you know anything about his philanthropic efforts?
I'm sure he has them, but I'm not sure. But the caramel, almond, and sea salt is my favorite, actually.
Oh, I like the one with the chocolate, actually. Okay, so today's drink for our podcast is a tequila drink, and it's a very soft, summery drink, even though it has tequila in it. So it's tequila and lime juice and grapefruit sparkling water.
Oh, that sounds great.
Okay.
And easy.
And easy. So here's to our podcast.
Here's to the podcast.
Clink.
Yeah, let's see what this is like. That's lovely.
Lovely.
So this is one I would recommend. Tequila, lime juice, and a San Pellegrino.
It doesn't have to be San
sparkling
Pellegrino,
water.
but it's the grapefruit sparkling water. And you're supposed to have a lime slice on it, but I didn't put a lime slice on it. And it's supposed to be over ice, which I didn't do either. So, but it's a very refreshing.
Who follows rules, Susan? Who follows rules? I mean, we have to think outside the box. And who follows the rules?
I know.
Well, this is a drink that's light, refreshing, and I would highly recommend this for summertime. This is wonderful. I think of tequila as being heavy and stiff and, tough. And this is wonderful.
You also think about that night in college when you drank way too many of them and you were sick for 4 days afterwards. And so that literally happened. And I couldn't touch the stuff for 25 years. But now they've refined tequila in such a way that there's a real protocol with what kind of tequila, and it's sipping tequila and not shots anymore. And so
now all the celebrities have a tequila line.
Exactly. Right. Yeah. Yep. So,
listen, as long as they keep producing it we'll keep using it.
Right.
I guess. I
But
guess.
it would be fun to do the tequila trail someday because there is such a thing. You go down to Mexico and you stop at all these distilleries in the same way that you might do a Napa Valley tour. And it's all tequilas.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I have some friends right now that are in Italy, and they're doing a big Italian wine, history of wine sort of tour, and just a lovely experience. It's kind of a bucket list trip.
Yeah, that would be great.
So product-wise, I decided to bring something today for all the girls out there. I don't know if anyone's seen me recently, but I have a snazzy new bob haircut. And there's a gal that is online named Marissa McCool, and she cuts some really funky bob haircuts. I found her by happenstance.
You did it yourself?
Oh, no. So I watched her. I took that YouTube video to my stylist, and I had her give me my funky little bob haircut, which I absolutely love.
It looks nice.
Well, thank you. It's like the mom bob without the child. The styling spray that I use is called Callista, and that is this woman's product line, Callista, and the spray is called Stratosphere. And let me tell you, I am a girl of the 70s and 80s, so I grew up with Aquanet. Aquanet is like a big, sticky, film, greasy, heavy spray that is almost like aerated cement, right? Stratosphere is light, fluffy, adds texture, adds volume, and I'm obsessed with it. So check out Callista's Stratosphere spray.
Okay.
If you're in need of a new light spray.
Right. Now, I will tell you, though, we're in allergy season here. They say don't put hairspray on if you have allergies because the pollen connects to your hair, sticks to your hair because of the hairspray, and then gets in your nose and eyes. So
well, I'm a Southern girl, so nothing's going to keep me from butter and hairspray.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Fair enough.
Yeah. Can't.
Yeah, that's like me with shoes. Like people say, maybe you should get rid of the high heels. On my dead body, I'm getting rid of high heels. That's for sure. Yeah, I'm the same way.
Yeah, hair color also.
There's certain things. Yeah.
Hair color, butter, and hairspray.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't mess with them.
Yeah. Women though that have lovely gray hair, like we've seen a couple today already. That's beautiful when you have good gray. But when you have bad mousy gray, you got to keep coloring.
I love admiring it on other people.
Yeah.
I'll look at it all day long. Thanks for listening, guys.
All right. Bye.
Well, I want to thank you for listening, and I hope you guys enjoyed this podcast. If you did, please share the show with friends and family and subscribe to our YouTube channel. This way, you'll never miss weekly drops. Stay strong, dream big, and floss your teeth.